Okay, hi guys. Today we're going to be discussing manipulatives. I'm going to choose a manipulative and then I'm going to pick a math standard and I'm going to demonstrate how you can use this manipulative with a math standard. So I'm going to begin by sharing my screen. Okay, perfect. So the manipulative that I have chose to use is snap cubes. And I'm sure you've all seen those, probably even used them for different things. I'm going to use two different colors and then I'll explain why as I get further into my talk. Okay, so the standard that I'm going to use is a kindergarten standard. It's a measurement and data standard, and it is standard K.MD.A.2, and it is directly compared to two objects with a measurable attribute in common to see which of the two objects has more or less of an attribute and describe the difference. For example, directly compare the heights of two children and describe one child as taller or shorter. Okay, so first off, of course, you have to explain to your class what it is to be tall and short. So a way to do this is to use this example, of course, and compare the heights of two children. Have one fairly short child and one taller child come up to the front and explain that the taller child is taller because there's more length, and then the shorter one is shorter because there's less length. Just like with your manipulatives. If I had these two manipulatives, I could show them instead of using the child's example. I could put them side by side and I could say, okay, let's look at these. Which one is taller? Which one is shorter? And of course, if your children already know what tall and short is, they're going to say, well, the orange one is taller and the white one is shorter. This manipulative is great to use for this standard because you can use it to compare. You can use two different colors, or I could just take this orange one, I could break it, and then I could say, okay, which one is taller or shorter? And then they would have to point to them. They would have to come and show me because they wouldn't be able to say the orange one is taller because they're both orange, which is why I chose to use two different colors, just for the sake of making this video just a tad bit easier. So, of course, I talked about height. I talked about how the orange is taller, the white is shorter. You could also give them cubes. Most people have some cubes in their classroom that they probably use for counting or different things. But you could give them cubes and you could say, okay, make two towers, because kids love to build. So give them cubes, have them make two towers, and then have them compare them. Okay, Sally, which one of your towers are taller? Which one is shorter? And make sure that they're understanding the concept of tall and short. If they have figured that concept out, give them a piece of paper that says long and short. Length, long and short. I could easily lay these on a piece of paper. That way they're flat, because if they're up, chances are my kids, if I'm holding them, they're going to say tall and short. They're not going to say long and short. But if I put them on paper, or I give them a paper that says long and short, and I say, okay, put the long ones on this side and the short ones on this side, they're going to be able to take these, put the long one on the long side and the shorter one on the shorter side. Then, of course, you're once again going to want to walk around and make sure that everyone is understanding this. If you have a student that doesn't, help them, obviously. But that's an excellent way to use these for this standard. Now, more or less of an attribute. Obviously, this is tall, this is short, long, short. But when it says which has more or less of an attribute, the orange one has more length and more height. The white one has less length and less height. So your students not only have to know that they're comparing tall and short, long and short. They have to know that they're going to be comparing height and length. Those are your two academic vocabulary words that you're going to have to make sure they know. You're going to have to know, they're going to have to know what height is. They're going to have to know that your height is how tall or short you are. And they're going to have to know your length. The length is how long or short an object is. If they don't know that, then you're going to have to teach them what height and length is. Once again, you can use these for that. You can say, okay, let's just say that this, we're going to do 1 cube. So this is 10 cubes. That's how high this is. It's 10 cubes. The white one is 5 cubes. So this is 5 cubes high. This is 10 cubes high. 10 cubes is more than 5 cubes. So the orange, which is 10 cubes, is taller than the white, which is 5 cubes. Now, the example that was in the standard was to use children. However, you're going to have kids that are going to get upset if you call someone else. You're going to have kids that get upset if you refer to them as short. So I would choose to use this way just because you can give the kids their own cubes. They can make their own towers, and it's hands-on. It's a great manipulative to use. So I definitely say to use this standard, this manipulative, with this standard, because I think it's really helpful and I think it would be absolutely wonderful for your students. And like I said, this is a kindergarten standard. So this is great for kindergartners because kindergartners like to play. All grades like to play. So they can easily take these apart. Okay, let me compare these two. Put them back together. Okay, let's compare these two. And there's all different colors that they can use. I mean, I've got some green, some blue, purple, red. I mean, I've got all kinds of colors in here. So yeah, I think you should definitely have snap cubes. They're a great manipulative. They can be used for so many different things, especially with this standard. They can be used for all 3 aspects of this standard: height, length, comparing, and describing the difference. Like I said, this one is shorter, okay, than this one. I described the difference: tall, short. Super easy, super simple, great for your kids to use. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day.